Have you ever felt like your arguments in a paper just aren't quite hitting the mark? Like the connections between your ideas feel a little fuzzy. Well, today, we're going to unlock a secret weapon for powerful, persuasive academic writing, the conditional sentence. It might sound like basic grammar, but trust me, it's an absolute game changer for how you think and argue on the page. So let me just ask you, how do you really build a strong, logical argument? I mean, an argument that doesn't just convince your reader, but also shows them, without a doubt, the depth of your critical thinking.
Well, it's probably a lot simpler than you think. It all starts with a fundamental little structure that you already know.
Yep, that's it. The simple, powerful logic of if this, then that. This little cause and effect framework, it's the engine of analytical writing. And today, we're going to master it. Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start by seeing these as a tool for thinking. Then we'll break down the basic if-then formula. After that, we'll get into conditionals for talking about reality, and then conditionals for exploring hypotheticals. Finally, we'll see how you can level up your language and wrap it all up with why this stuff truly matters. So first things first, we have to understand that conditional sentences are not just about grammar rules, okay? They are literally a framework for critical thinking. They force you to connect ideas, to think about consequences, and to build those logical chains that are the hallmark of really great academic work. So how do we actually use this tool? Let's get into the mechanics. We're going to start with the super simple foundation, the building blocks that every single conditional sentence is made of. And you'll see it's incredibly straightforward. So, a conditional sentence just has two parts. You've got the condition, that's the part that usually starts with if, and then you have the result. It's as simple as this. If it rains, the ground gets wet. One thing happens, which causes another thing to happen. It's all about that clear cause and effect. So let's break that down one more time. You've got the if clause, that's what sets up the whole condition. And then you've got the result clause, which tells you the outcome. Keep an eye on these two parts as we go through this, because seeing how they play together is the whole key.
All right, now that we've got the basic structure down, let's look at our first set of tools. These are the conditionals you're going to use to talk about the real world, to discuss facts, scientific truths, and actual possibilities.
We'll kick things off with what we can call the factual conditional. You might also know it as the zero conditional. Just think of this as your truth teller. It's your go-to for things that are always 100% true when the condition is met. We use this for facts and general truths. And look, the structure is so simple. If plus a present simple verb, and then another present simple verb. Like, if water reaches 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. It's a scientific fact. No questions asked, it always happens. Okay, so let's move on from those universal truths to real-world possibilities. This is the first conditional, and it's all about talking about things that are real and likely to happen in the future. You're going to use this one constantly, especially in academic planning. The structure here is if plus the present simple, but the result part uses will plus the main verb. For example, if you submit your assignment on time, you will receive feedback quickly. This describes a very real expected outcome of your action. Okay, now we get to move from describing reality to exploring different realities. And this, my friends, is where your writing gets really analytical, really imaginative. These are the tools for hypothetical thinking. First up is the second conditional. This is your what-if tool. It's for exploring all those cool what-if scenarios in the present or future. Things that aren't real right now, but you can imagine them being possible under different circumstances. Now, the structure here is really important. If plus the past simple tense, and that's followed by would plus the main verb. For example, if universities reduced tuition fees, more students would have access. You see, we're exploring a hypothetical policy change. This is absolutely essential for writing argumentative essays where you're proposing or critiquing different ideas. Next, we have a tool that basically lets us travel back in time. The third conditional is all about analyzing the past and imagining how things could have turned out differently. Oh man, this one is a powerhouse for evaluation. You use this when you need to critique something, a historical event, a past experiment, a business decision. The structure is if plus had and the past participle, followed by would have and the past participle. Check out the example. If the researchers had controlled the variables, the results would have been more reliable. This is so powerful because it signals that they didn't do it, and it lets you analyze the consequences of that mistake. All right, so you've got the 4 core thinking tools down. Now for the really fun part. Let's see how using these structures can take your writing from sounding, kind of basic, to sounding like a true academic professional. This is where the real payoff is. Now, what's so cool about this slide is the transformation. Just look at the basic sentence. It's fine, nothing wrong with it. But the academic version, wow. It's so much more powerful. It uses more precise language like structured academic discourse and critical analytical skills. It's not just stating a simple fact. It's presenting a sophisticated, nuanced analytical claim. See the difference? Okay, here's a pro tip for you. In really formal academic writing, you're going to see this inverted structure where they just drop the if entirely. Had the experiment been replicated just means the same thing as if the experiment had been replicated. Now, you don't necessarily need to use this in your own writing right away, but it's super important to recognize it when you're reading dense academic texts.
And real quick, here's a common mistake to avoid. Please, never use will in the if part of a first conditional sentence. It's not if students will study. No, it's if students study, they will pass. It's a small fix, but it makes a huge difference in your credibility and shows you really know your stuff.
So let's bring it all home. We've gone through the mechanics, we've gone through the different types, but why does mastering this really, really matter? What's the ultimate academic payoff here?
Well, the crucial point is this. Using conditionals correctly lets you show critical thinking. It lets you analyze alternative outcomes, present sophisticated hypothetical reasoning, clearly demonstrate logical relationships, and, at the end of the day, just write so much more professionally and persuasively. This is exactly what your professors are looking for. I just want to leave you with this final thought. Mastering these structures isn't just about avoiding red marks on your paper. It's so much bigger than that. Clear grammar leads to clear thinking. And clear thinking, well, that is the absolute foundation of academic success.